trash collection, sometimes more than once, especially in our busy parks. We do a restroom cleaning at Pack Square and the new Portland Loo. We do twice a day. We do daily unlocking, daily locking, just to prevent vandalism at night, but also provide hours for people visiting our city or living in our city to properly use the restroom in a nice facility, other than a porta john or something like that. That's something that's really important. That's why the Portland Loo became a thing. And then on top of that, it's obviously landscaping, mowing, graffiti removal, things along those lines that we're really focused on. We also maintain the splash pad downtown. Any fountains you see, all the irrigation systems downtown, every single one of downtown has an irrigation system. Trying to do more ground cover, more landscaping to make our parks look nice. Pressure washing, things along those lines. Anything you can think of in park, that's what we're doing. If you guys ever notice issues in our park, our biggest thing is we use our Asheville app. If you guys don't have it, it's an easy app online. There's a section for Parks and Rec. Click that, take a picture of what it is. You can do it anonymously. You can do it as, we don't mind it anonymously, but a lot of the times we like to reach out to somebody and make sure, like, hey, do we meet your concern? We're never going to hold a grudge against somebody being like, man, this guy is constantly complaining about stuff at parks. No, we don't do that.
Can I just jump in real quick?
Yeah,
so on the topic of the Asheville app, so these guys will have phones that they'll be using on their shifts.
Yeah.
And we can have the Asheville app installed on those phones.
Yeah.
And then it might be a good idea to identify yourselves as like aided.
Mm-hmm. That way we know how many we escalate as well. And that's just one more metric that we'll be able to track of saying, like, we referred this many things out to the city. So
Yeah.
We use that metric a lot.
Yeah, because they're going to be eyes and ears in a lot of these things, and they'll see things before, you
And the biggest thing I would recommend is if you're in our parks, like I said, there is drop downs. There's one for pretty much every city entity, in all honesty. If you're in our parks, definitely send it to us first, because it's a roundabout way of, if it's sent to the wrong place, it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, it's not going to get done. But it's a roundabout way of just getting it directly to us so we can handle it as soon as possible. If it's something on the side of the street, if it's something not in a park, again, you can send it to us, but it'll go somewhere else. Sometimes speeds up the process a little bit.
So the app is just called the Asheville app?
That's the easiest way to report anything to us. It puts it into a work order system for us to
it's
our
311.
Yeah.
Basically.
Puts it into a work order system for us of being like, this is something we need to address. I mean, a lot of the topics we'll see is, we get a wide variety of, graffiti or overflowing trash can or splash pads not working, things along those lines. But it can be absolutely anything. We've seen missing brick and I rolled my ankle. That's something that we took and have the metrics of who reported it, got in contact with that person, made sure they were okay. Went through the process of that to be like, okay, here we go. This is everything we have. So.
And I would say there's a nuance. You guys are going to learn this a little bit. So how do I want to put this? Okay. So the Asheville Downtown Improvement District is funded by an additional amount of property tax for property owners. There are certain groups that do not pay into that, which is the city of Asheville and the county. And because the city of Asheville has a great parks department and sanitation, we're probably not going to spend as much time on their turf as we will in the rest of the public realm or working on like private stuff. So it is very nuanced, and I don't expect for everybody to get it right away. But we're probably not going to be spending a lot of time in the city parks because they are well maintained. But if you happen to, kind of like stumble upon something or somebody reaches out to you, I think it's important. But we're probably not going to.
Yeah.
But a lot of our city actually does not pay property tax, which is kind of surprising in the district. And so we're not going to be looking at like, does this building pay and this building doesn't? It's just a pretty easy one to say is like, you probably won't be in parks that much. Or like in the civic center is not a good, that's not what I mean to say. What do you all call like the city and county building? The federal building? No, like the city and the county buildings, do y'all have a name for that area? Okay, well, the city and county buildings also, we probably won't spend that much time on their property because they have a lot of eyes on that property anyways.
But
Does that make sense?
it does. I just want to throw in, there's going to be things that maybe you see and that you can easily address.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went to the park last Sunday, about below where we live, so maybe something there. With,
Yeah, and there's things you don't need to call them for.
Yeah.
If there's just like someone left their trash,
oh, yeah.
go ahead, pick that up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I just meant like graffiti because they're gonna have different, standards or different materials that they
Mhm.
might need to clean graffiti in the park than what we might see, just, like in the general public realm.
And vice versa. If you guys ever, our staff is out there all day, every day. And if you guys need a resource or anything to ask them, like, where is this located or
Okay.
how can they help you? They wear these bright blue shirts. They all, all of our staff are extremely friendly and they'll definitely point you in the right direction as well.
Can we talk about the Portland Loo a little bit more and just, because I know that we have been asked to address, like supplement there a little
Yeah.
bit.
Our restrooms, I'm not gonna lie, especially downtown, have been difficult. It's, a public space that's easy to hide. It's easy to vandalize. You're behind a locked door. So, as we love the Portland Loo, there was a need for our city of more public restrooms. We have 2 restrooms that are available downtown now. We have Pack Square, which is 4 separate restroom units, and we have the Portland Loo. Our staff is, as I'm sure everybody could say that they're understaffed, but we are understaffed as well. We are responsible for 2 times cleaning a day. We typically do that based on time of year. We adjust it as needed. Our restrooms at Portland Loo never closes. It's open 24/7. Our pack restrooms do close every night though. During the winter, they close at 6 p.m. During the summer, they close at 10 p.m. 9 p.m. And typically we set the hours for pack as 8 a.m. open. Typically they're open before that. But that's just our start time, just in case. And again, 2 times a day is a good amount of cleaning, but 5 minutes after cleaning, it could be destroyed. And we don't have the staff to have somebody consistently sitting there to clean them after every use. We are very closely associated with our community event team, with Joe Philman, tons of events downtown. We don't have the staff to fully meet that during an event downtown. For instance, downtown at 5. We staffed it, but it was extremely
We blew it up.
But you're also talking about thousands and thousands of people having the option between a restroom or a porta john. And very like me, most of the time I'm going to choose a restroom over a porta john. So like things along those lines is where we struggle a little bit, where we don't have the manpower to necessarily keep up with that. A lot of these events will take care of their own trash during the event, which is extremely helpful. But that's kind of where same thing with the Portland Loo. Portland Loo is, again, we're cleaning it twice a day, but somebody could go in there and completely destroy the whole bathroom 5 minutes after we just left. We're trying to get more cleaning, as we try to staff up more. But that's always been a difficult process for us.
It's been really clean though, guys. Like
We're trying.
Yeah, I think, great job because you see families going there. I'm always shocked to see like people who use that thing, especially late night. There's a line out the door. People are using them. I think it's been very well received. I do have a question.
Yeah.
Do you know if the sink is turned on in there yet?
We are turning it up.
Okay.
We winterize it. It's technically supposed to be all year round. First year, we did turn off the sink just because we want to address it won't freeze the pipes inside of it, but it's the water that overflows on the ground. We don't want it to be a slipping hazard. So as that freezes, we don't want that to be. So we are looking into either more drainage or how do we turn that down to not spray over it as much.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, it's this little tiny little box on the side that is a hand washing station, but The drain for it is like this big, and it's, you know, it overflows very easily. It's also, again, I go back to vandalism of if somebody puts a bunch of paper or something in that, it'll overflow. So we're looking into those types of options of how do we prevent that. But the biggest thing is because of the slipping hazard. We weren't ready to risk somebody going out there and busting their butt.
So when it's not freezing, there's a hand sanitizer, and then when they turn the washing station on, then that you will be able to wash your hands.
Yep.
The feedback we do get is sometimes it's out of materials. Will these guys have access to be able to restock, or is that something that we would want them to
We
do?
can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
And you know, that Portland Lou is kind of a oddity as far as park. It's not necessarily parks. I mean, it's,
Right.
if you realize, I mean, that we refer to that as rank car garage.
Yeah.
It's not
What
a
it used to be
You think
before
of parks, you think of
became-
like playground.
Yeah, I mean, we,
Bathroom.
so,
Well, we want to do some things to
Yes.
liven up that space.
Yes.
We want to make it look a little bit more beautiful, take care of it, and do some public realm enhancements there. But
yeah, and we do have irrigation there, so I mean, that would definitely be a possibility if we decided to do some plantings, that type of thing. But you know, that, I guess where I was headed with all of that is, I know we won't be, you guys won't be spending a ton of time in parks, but we're also responsible for several vacant lots and, around the downtown district. Just because it falls under our realm, because we have the folks to be able to do that. But that's not necessarily parks. It's just property that we manage. And the other kind of nuance is we have a lot of city sidewalks that are the borders for our parks that, you know, Public Works take care of for us.
Mhm.
So, you know, there's some nuance in that too. Although that is still a city entity, so I guess.
Well, we're going to take care of sidewalks. I just know they're not going to spend like a ton of time.
No, no, and yeah, I was just kind of wanting to lay it out the way it actually works with us. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it having access to that. I'm assuming now with storing that stuff at Pack Square.
Yeah, the biggest thing, there's no storage at the Portland Lou, so we
Right.
are storing at Pack Square Park, which is a couple blocks away. It's not terribly far. I would say that our biggest headache for our parks team is the restrooms. And a lot of it comes to, I manage our night crew as well. So, you know, security at night, locking up the restrooms. Again, it's a really easy place for people to hide. It's a really easy place for, especially if it's freezing cold, it's obviously dealing with restrooms. So having those resources that's a big issue. We're also looking into auto locking doors. They lock at 10 o'clock every night. Don't need to have anybody there. Things along those lines is kind of ideas that we're looking at to make our department run smoother.
We actually just finished up, they were just open. It was on the news last week, the new restroom facility and park at Memorial Stadium.
Yes, I was going to ask about that. That's not in our district,
No.
but is it a public restroom that's going to be open all
It
the
is,
time?
it is. And
That's good
that's,
to
so
know.
And they are also getting the locks.
that's,
Since there's a track, their times are a lot different. We're opening them at 6:30 a.m. because, you know, people who enjoy running, it's weird, but
they want to do it.
yeah, they're gonna be there really early in the morning, so we're gonna lock it then, and then they will close late at night.
That's behind the tourist stadium. There's a new kind of facility there, and there will be restrooms. I just learned that too. And now there's one at the Art Transit Station, right? You say you know,
Yeah.
put it out there, if somebody really needs a bathroom, they could go there, but you guys don't manage
We do
that.
not.
do that.
Okay.
So there are some opportunities that are going to be temporary possible solutions for things. We're actually, the city does own that big parking lot that is adjacent to the bus station. And we're looking for a place to put an inline hockey rink for right now because Carrier's so destroyed.
Mhm.
And part of that is you have to have a fairly flat parking lot. Well, that's the flattest parking lot that anybody that we own as a entity in the city that's not already being used as a parking lot.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that happens. And then there will be some changes possibly at that point. You know, I don't know that we will take over those restrooms, but we may end up having to put porta johns there, something just to meet that need.
Well, please let us know how we
We
can
will.
advocate bringing a inline hockey rink, whatever that means, to right next to the Art Transit
Yes.
Station. We will not rest until we get you guys
So
that.
that is one of the So as part of the recovery, we have RSG groups that are working in the city to work on different things. That's one of the things is economic recovery, and that is part of that. Bring back recreation to downtown, just so something hopefully that will enhance economic growth back into the city. So.
But yeah, we're also looking at a lot of these temporary locations. For those of you who don't know, when the storm hit us, we lost our entire building to the storm. We lost our entire operation. We were down in Billboard Village. So we're also in a transition period in our department. We lost all of our mowers, all of our trucks. Our building. So Parks and Rec is kind of scattered all over the place right now. So even if we were running at full force with all of our resources like we've had in the past, it's still a lot. And then when you take that kind of hit, it makes it even worse. But we have an awesome staff, and our staff is willing to help and willing to go out of their way. And so, but yeah.
Well, and perhaps we could chat about maybe doing some storage at 29 Haywood down in the basement.
Absolutely.
We have a ton of space there. And so maybe we could store, I see your dog bags over there too. Maybe we could store some restroom supplies there. That way they can have an easy access to be able to restock. And I think dog bags as well, because I get a lot of feedback about that kind of stuff being run out. I'll say, I think I told the group yesterday that there is a radio station who we have a great relationship with, but I recently learned they've been shitting on the loo, and it makes me really sad because, yeah. And they said that they want to do a live from the loo, and I think we should actually invite them to do that and talk about how people can use the Asheville app if they are out of toilet paper or if the thing's not working, to actually report that and maybe be a part of the solution rather than just complaining about, something that doesn't work. So I would like to do a big live from the loo once we get up and running and get people like re-excited about how they can.
We have noticed that as well with Portland Lou. Obviously, some people in the city don't agree with the price tag that costs us to put it in. The city management saw a need for it, which we all saw a need for more of a public restroom downtown that needs, that doesn't have to be locked up every night. And, we're a tourism town. People are out past 10 o'clock. So there is a need for that.
And I think, I don't know if you guys are feeling this too, but I feel like the amount of human waste not on the streets and sidewalks has gone down significantly. Like, I don't think anybody wants to poop on the sidewalk. Like, I think it really has made a huge difference.
Well, we did see a big uptick as soon as we opened the loo of people who disagreed with it, either bashing it or vandalizing it, which, I mean, in my opinion, it's like it was paid for already. Why are we vandalizing it? It's not going to change what happened. It's just going to make us spend more money to fix the problem. So we did see a big uptick right after the Portland Loo opened of graffiti, or, I will say the Portland Loo is built like a bunker.
Yes.
It's virtually indestructible except for graffiti. I mean, there's nothing we can do. There's graffiti proof paint on it, which helps. It makes it a little bit easier to get it off, but it still takes man hours. It still takes, chemicals, stuff like that. So, but yeah, that whole area has gotten a big, even since I've been here, that Rankin area, new plantings, whole new irrigation system, new lighting, security cameras, everything like that. That's made that area, the center of town, much nicer. So, and yeah, we've actually contracted out all the landscaping there, so they're there every day to make sure that everything looks good. You'll see these plant protection stakes downtown. They're these metal poles that have a line through them. We have them at PAC and there. We do that because they're new plants, and new plants need a little bit of love and not get trampled. So as they grow, we can probably take those down, but they need to get established first.
So I've noticed that a lot of those are kind of flopped over. And so is that something that our guys can help with?
Yeah,
Okay,
that'd be great.
You guys see them and they're flopped. I mean, they're super easy. They just stick right in the ground. They're aluminum.
We have to be careful of irrigation.
Yes. What I always tell people is irrigation lines like PVC pipe. You're not going to break it if you push against it. You will break it if you take a hammer and
Yeah, I don't think that.
but they don't need to be beaten in. They're aluminum, they bend easily. The reason we did that is we didn't want them to turn into weapons. So.
Which they have,
Yeah.
not terribly.
They're also all tied together, and clamped together, so you can't just get one off. They're all in a loop together. But yeah, if you guys see those, anything like that, we'd love to help.
Yeah, visually, I think having them all like knocked over, it looks,
Yeah.
and that's something that's like so easy. You'll see that every day on your route. Like you can just really easily make a huge difference right there.
Or you'll see if like the lines come in, one's really drooped down, just pull the line on one side and straighten them all out. Easy. Done deal.
Cool. Any other thoughts?
No, I mean, I think, like I said, we take any help we can get. The other issue that we have downtown is the bollards, those black bollards that kind of protect our sidewalks from open streets. And it like Impact Square, I'm just going to use that as an example where Pax Tavern, I'm trying to think of what the name is. Yeah. Where it turns, there's so many delivery trucks. I don't think we've had a fire truck hit yet. The Budweiser truck likes to tear those things down there.
It was hit.
Not mine, but it was like that before my event.
Oh, I know.
My Budweiser,
No,
it was already like that.
I do a walkthrough, and anytime we have an event, I was like, downtown after 5, big event, I'll go take a look, and somebody smashed a bollard that morning.
Well, there used to be a Duke Power light pole right there on the corner too, and finally they put it up so many times, Duke said, can we please just not put that light back? I mean, because it was seriously, we had it replaced on Wednesday one week and it got knocked over that weekend. And I mean, but I guess where I'm going with that is just be mindful of those too. If you haven't seen one of those that's been, I mean, we do a pretty good job of patrolling that, but
Are you guys in
sometimes-
charge of all of them or only the ones in parks?
we are only doing the ones that are downtown around parks. Now, we're also responsible for the front entrance, anything around the city building, not the
What
county
about Wall
building.
Street? That's where we lose a lot of bollards.
Wall Street, that would be, public.
Transportation.
Well, actually, that's more streets with Chad Bain.
Okay.
So.
Which is weird because we do also maintain Wall Street steps.
Well, I was
Yes,
gonna say, and we're getting, the mural's gonna get refreshed very soon. But that it's a little plaza in front of the Wall Street garage, the Climax right there. So I know that's a public plaza, so I didn't know if you guys managed that little area.
We do that.
Okay.
Okay, questions about that?
For back to the Portland Lou.
Yeah.
What would your ideal cadence be for us to supplement? How often should we put that on our kind of route?
so I think my question, to answer your question correctly, would be what hours of operation are you guys gonna try to stay under?
I think we're 8:30 a.m. to 10 p.m.
I think honestly, through the daytime hours, because we have a crew that basically just lives downtown pretty much through, well, it'll soon be 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But after that 5 o'clock is when, honestly, since COVID and some of the other things, it's very hard to fill second shift or nighttime shift positions. So if you guys have folks that will be here, I mean, we actually do have one time, that we've got worked into the schedule. And if it needs more than that, obviously we'll do that, but we're definitely one time. But if you guys could help from, let's say, 6 to 10.
Typically, right now, we're doing a walkthrough first thing in the morning. And our crews typically get here around 6:30 a.m. So they're normally there by 7:30. They'll do a clean. And then we'll typically do another clean. I say 2 times. With a new restroom downtown, it's more like 3 a day. We'll typically do another one before they leave for the day. And then we do have a night shift. Like John said, though, our second shift, we have a lot of turnover. It's a tough position to fill. But we will typically do another one, just even if it's not a full cleaning or restock or something like that before the night hits. But
Great.
I don't know y'all's schedule, so you have to keep each other in line for time.
I think they're right after us. So.
Okay, perfect.
We were line 20.
oh, we jumped you.
Yeah, you jumped in line.
Oh, man.
Well, thank you
Oh,
guys
man.
so much for being here. You're
Of
welcome to
course.
stay.
Oh,
Maybe
thank
some
you.
pastries or a bagel or something on your way out. And we're excited to work with you all.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
And they are going to help us with some of our events. So I think they'll be at least. And staff up for May 29th, because it's supposed to be double what we had at downtown after that.
What's it?
The community concert, Soup Canyon